Chapter 41. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boa Hancock, Conqueror's Hockey. It's the same Conqueror's Hockey as mine, Marshal Sengoku, damn it, Doflamingo, hey another damn guy, Pirate King Roger, the aptitude of a king. I underestimated this Blackbeard. Whitebeard, this red-nosed brat is going to be in trouble, red-haired Shanks, no, I believe in Buggy, Clown Buggy, it's parallel Buggy. Don't make the mistake again. Conqueror's Hockey. Looking at the rolling waves of air that covered the sky in front of him, Buggy frowned slightly, as if a little unexpected. The potential to become a king? Are you kidding? It's just a dead man. Teach's terrifying laughter resounded through the world, and the murderous intent on his body almost tangible enveloped Buggy. Interesting, this is all thanks to you, red-nosed brat. I, Marshal Teach, will not lose. For a moment, as Teach suddenly burst out with power, the surrounding Whitebeard pirates burst into laughter. The red-nosed brat is finished now. You dare to mess with Brother Teach? Humph. The Roger pirates are a thing of the past. Puff. The man who just spoke was directly killed by the neck, deader than dead. It's so noisy. Buggy glared at Teach. Shut up, you're laughing so hard. The surroundings suddenly became quiet. Teach looked at Buggy in disbelief. What did you say? Doesn't this guy recognize the situation? I've already shown such terrible power, and he dares to be so arrogant. Are your ears not working well? Buggy was stretching his muscles out of boredom. The next second, his eyes changed, and black and red thunderbolts surrounded him crazily, making crackling and harsh sounds. I'm talking to you. It's so noisy. Boom. In an instant, a surging momentum spread out from Buggy's body, and the terrifying oppressive force, mixed with black and red thunderbolts, instantly slammed into the heads of everyone in the audience. Bang bang bang, the Whitebeard pirates' heads slammed to the ground one after another and fell into coma. With your newly awakened Conqueror Hockey, you dare to compete with me? With a puff, the sky was completely wiped out, and the world returned to white again. You actually have Conqueror Hockey too? Teach was stunned, and his brain almost crashed. Are you done? A cold light flashed in his eyes, and Buggy threw the knife into the air, then die. As soon as the voice fell, 6 knives immediately turned upside down in the air and shot towards Teach at a very fast speed. Teach, who had just woken up from his daze, had no time to react, and quickly stretched out his arms to block his chest. Puff. The blade pierced through his arm and stabbed into Teach's chest. Even your armament Hockey is stronger than mine. Teach smiled bitterly and said in a low voice. He was always conceited, but now facing Buggy, he was already covered with wounds and had no confidence. But Buggy didn't want to play anymore. If he delayed for a while, it would be difficult to kill the other members of the Whitebeard pirates. The floating blade was aimed at Teach's head, and Buggy waved his hand. Stop! The loud shout tried to stop Buggy. But Buggy seemed not to hear it, and still controlled the blade to stab it hard. At the critical moment, Teach, who heard the voice of his companion, suddenly regained his belief in life, slapped his head with one palm, and the blade cut off his left ear and stabbed heavily into the ground. What a hassle! Looking at Marco, who rushed over with a face full of anger, Buggy couldn't help but complain. Kaido of the Beasts, ugh, another Conqueror Hockey, interesting. Big Mom, does the red-nosed kid have the qualifications to become a king? Minga's face was completely black, and the corners of his mouth kept twitching. It seemed that overnight Conqueror Hockey became commonplace. Let's not talk about Teach for now. Just based on this red-nosed kid, what kind of thing is worthy of having the same Conqueror Hockey as me? Pirate King Roger, At Clown Buggy, did you see that? You can also awaken Conqueror Hockey. Pluto Rayleigh, Baki in the parallel world is really good. At Clown Buggy, learn well. Clown Buggy, do you want me to die? Bang. The prison door opened from the outside, and Magellan, with a fierce face, strode in, holding a bunch of thick shackles in his hand. Buggy, who was curled up in the corner, was almost crazy. He shouted at the top of his voice, "You, don't come over. I warn you, you are abusing criminals. I will sue you." Humph. Magellan snorted lightly, with a strange look in his eyes. "Heroic Haki, I really underestimated you before." No, you didn't underestimate me." Buggy tried his best to explain, "That was all done by parallel Buggy, it has nothing to do with me, clown Buggy." Crack. The heavy seastone chain was dragged on the ground, scratching out sparks. "No, don't. Don't force me, be careful or I'll awaken the Conqueror's Haki and shock you to death." Woo, I'm just a small character with a bounty of 15 million Baileys, why bother? Ouch, be gentle." Magellan was unmoved and took the chain and put it on Buggy's head. 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles, falling to the ground helplessly. Buggy was tied up like a dumpling and couldn't move at all. "Well, awaken." "I'm watching." Magellan folded his hands, looking like he was waiting for Buggy to explode. "Buggy, I really want to leave this world, the live broadcast is still going on." "You are." Marco frowned and looked at Buggy, the intern in Roger's Pirates. After all, the other party's red nose was too eye-catching, and it was hard for Marco to forget it. Captain Marco of the Whitebeard Pirates. Buggy curled his lips and said impatiently, "Get out of the way, I don't want to attack you." Because of Roger and Whitebeard, the two pirate groups actually had a good relationship. Buggy also had a good impression of Marco. "No. I can't watch you kill Teach." Marco's face became serious and he dissuaded him, "I already know what happened. Red hair only hurt his eyes and was not fatal. Now Teach has been beaten half to death by you. How about we end this matter here?" If it were a normal day, if someone dared to kill someone from his Whitebeard Pirates, Marco would definitely rush up and kill the other person without hesitation. But now, Teach is seriously injured and dying. It is obvious that he is about to die. There is no time to delay. And the strength shown by Buggy also made Marco a little afraid. "That's it." Hearing this, Buggy glanced at Marco in surprise, and the coldness could not stop flowing out of his body. "I didn't expect you, Marco, to say such childish words. Keep the other party alive, and wait for him to become stronger in the future, and then come to seek revenge on me. Ridiculous. Teach. I'm going to kill him." Bang. The air was wrinkled, and Buggy rushed straight towards Teach. "Damn it." Marco's body came between the two in an instant, ready to stop them. Puff. Where is he? Seeing Buggy disappear, Marco was almost dumbfounded, and quickly turned around to look at Teach. In the cold wind, Buggy's voice was as cold as an ice cellar. Shattered into pieces, body peeled off. Boom. Like fireworks, Teach's body on the ground floated in the air, then exploded, turning into a blood mist all over the sky, and disappeared with the wind and snow. Chapter 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Teach. Marco screamed heartbreakingly. He didn't expect that even if he was there, he couldn't avoid Teach's death. Damn it. Bucky. Marco's body was full of flames, and his terrifying momentum slammed into Buggy, shouting angrily, "I will never forgive you." In an instant, the flames swept over, engulfing Marco's body, revealing the form of an immortal bird half-orc. Phoenix Seal. A terrible shock wave burst out from Marco's wings, burning the air crazily, pointing directly at Buggy. Shattered into pieces. Gap. Faced with Marco's terrifying attack, Buggy simply stretched out a finger, but tore the shock wave from it and dispersed it to both sides. This man obviously has bad intentions. He clearly has the ambition to be the king, but he is willing to stay in the Whitebeard Pirates as a small pirate day after day. He and I have a personal grudge. Even if Whitebeard comes, he can't do anything to me. The voice gradually faded away until it could no longer be heard. In the white sky, only Marco was left staring blankly at the direction where Buggy left, lost in thought. Live broadcast room, Whitebeard, Gulala well done, little red-nosed devil, Diamond Jaws, Marco, you idiot, actually wanted to save that bastard Teach, Vista, I'm so embarrassed, the captain is almost too ashamed to face people, Marco, it's so embarrassing, how could I be so stupid in another world, red-haired Shanks, at Blackbeard Teach, do you have anything else to say, Blackbeard Teach, thief ha just an idiot, if you die, what does it have to do with me? But Buggy the Clown, right? I'll remember you, Buggy the Clown. Here we go again, I knew this would happen, Buggy felt so wronged. He didn't do anything, why did these people put the blame on him? Bastard! Do you really think that Buggy the Clown has no temper? With a bang, Buggy punched the prison wall, his face full of uncontrollable anger. What parallel Buggy can do, Clown Buggy, can also do, it's just that, now I'm trapped in seastone shackles, and I can't use my fruit ability. He. Suddenly, a cold laugh echoed in Buggy's mind, weird and evil, it was like a flash of inspiration, and Buggy woke up immediately after hearing the laugh, that's right. I still have rewards in the live broadcast room. The black and white ugly emperor mask covered Buggy's face, and in an instant, a feeling of pride, unwillingness, and evil immediately filled Buggy's heart. Clown trick, transformation. Puff. A large amount of white smoke appeared in the prison, and when the smoke and dust dissipated, a puppy with a red nose appeared in front of him. The wide seastone shackles slowly fell off and fell to the ground. He, I succeeded. The puppy Buggy jumped all over the ground happily, wagging his tail, but soon, Buggy faced another choice, that is, should he go out or not? Escape from Impel Down. Unfortunately, this idea just emerged in Buggy's mind, and he was ruthlessly cut off by him. At the same time, a feeling of anger burst out in his heart, the anger from the ugly mask. Asshole, do you know where this is? Do you think I can beat that guy Magellan? Escape? I won't do such a stupid thing. Buggy was cowardly as always, took off the mask, and thought in his heart, humph. Anyway, the guy Ace with the fire fist is imprisoned opposite him, and the old guy Whitebeard will definitely not ignore it. Once the prison is broken, I can take the opportunity to escape in the chaos. At that time, I can raise my arms and unite those bastards on the second underground floor to escape from Impel Down. Wouldn't I have a ship and crew? My Captain Buggy is indeed a genius. Grand Line, a certain sea area. Buggy the Clown. What a ridiculous guy. I'll have to twist off his head when the time comes, thief The live broadcast is still going on. 1 week after the death of Marshal D. Teach. The latest news about Buggy the Clown, released by the World Economic News Agency, has spread all over the world in just 3 days. Title, Roger Pirate's Trainee King's Battle. Pirate King Roger, a man who personally opened up the Great Pirate Era, although despised by the world government and the Navy, no one can deny his existence and influence. Even though he has been dead for many years, he can still affect the situation in the entire sea. Red-haired Shanks, a trainee of Roger's pirates, has been on the top of the world with his world-famous record in the past 2 years, and is only 1 step away from the throne of the Emperor. However, when everyone's eyes are on Red Hair, we ignore another trainee of Roger's pirates, Buggy the Clown. Oh, I really can't describe this man in words, low-key, introverted, powerful, but modest. Sorry, I'm at a loss for words, this is just one of his many advantages. Since Roger's death, Buggy the Clown has been silent and no longer appears. If it weren't for the battle between Red Hair and Teach, a crew member of the Whitebeard Pirates 3 years ago, I'm afraid we would never have heard of his story until now. Yes, this man came to avenge Red Hair. For his brother, for his former companion, he resolutely challenged the Emperor Whitebeard. He killed Blackbeard Teach cleanly and neatly with extremely strange and mysterious means, and fought with Marco, the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates for several rounds, and finally left gracefully. Is it a coincidence? Or is it deliberate? A new era has arrived. Can the old emperor maintain his position? Will the new emperor fall into the hands of 2 interns in the future? To know what happened next, please continue to support my World Economic News Agency. Live broadcast room, Pirate King Roger. Pluto Rayleigh. Red-haired Shanks, is this Buggy? Kaido, ugh, new emperor. Interesting. Big Mom, at Clown Buggy, I'm waiting for you to challenge me. Doflamingo, ridiculous report. Crocodile, could it be that Buggy, the clown from another world, will become a Four Emperor? Marco, fight for several rounds. Why do I sound so weak? Moglia, it's ridiculous. If this clown could become a Four Emperor, Moria, would have been the Pirate King long ago. The live broadcast is still going on. East China Sea, a certain island. Bang! Baki threw the newspaper to the ground, his face full of depression. What are these bastards talking about? Who said I went to avenge Shanks? Humph, it's obvious that I'm just upset with that bastard Teach. What nonsense. If Shanks sees this, the clown Buggy, will have no face. Throwing away the newspaper, Buggy angrily came to the beach, split his body, summoned his clones, and sat on the reef to practice quietly. With Teach's death, Shanks' revenge has also been avenged. Now he needs to be quiet for a while. Remember what Captain Roger did at that time. Domineering color, entangled. It seems that the armed color can also go further. Split fruit. 5 years later. Woo woo woo. The dull sound of the whistle echoed on the sea. Big pirate clown Buggy, you are now surrounded. I advise you to surrender quickly. Otherwise the Navy will bombard the island immediately. Big pirate clown Buggy, you are now. Chapter 43. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's so noisy. Buggy, who was practicing with his eyes closed, was awakened by a loud noise. He opened his eyes and saw 3 warships approaching the island quickly from a distance. Navy? Baki was full of surprise. He couldn't understand why the Navy came to trouble him when he had been staying on the island for many years and had not committed any crime or evil. They were deliberately looking for trouble, right? By then, 3 Navy warships had already appeared in front of Buggy, with their gun barrels emitting terrifying dim light pointed at him, as if they were about to spray out in the next second. Buggy, the great pirate clown with a bounty of 1.51 billion berries, today my Navy officially arrests you. Don't even think about making a pointless resistance, just surrender. On the warship, the leading vice admiral of the Navy said loudly and righteously. Are you Navy guys idle? Buggy's eyes showed impatience. I've been hiding so far, you still want to catch me? Humph. The remnants of Roger's pirate group are unforgivable, Clown Buggy, don't forget the evil you committed 5 years ago. If the admiral didn't tell me, Buggy would have almost forgotten it. 5 years ago, after killing Teach, Buggy was about to leave the New World by boat. He never thought that he would run into a group of Branch Fortress Navy who oppressed civilians on the way, and Buggy killed them all. Of course, more importantly, that group of Navy actually set their sights on him, that it's been 5 years, and these guys still remember it. Whether it's reasonable or not, isn't Buggy getting rid of harm for the people? I advise you to leave as soon as possible, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless. Buggy said unhappily. He really didn't want to deal with these difficult Navy guys. There are so many pirates in the sea, why not catch them? Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, if you really can't, go catch that bastard Shanks. You have to keep an eye on me. Live broadcast room, red-haired Shanks. Pirate King Roger, ha ha ha, little Buggy is so cute when he doesn't mean what he says. Kaido, catch me? Are you qualified to rely on the Navy? Marshal Sengoku, humph. Sooner or later, I will catch you and push you into the city. Marco, 3 warships may not be able to deal with parallel Buggy. Ben Shellman, there should be a backup plan. Hearing Buggy's words, the Navy became furious and pointed at Buggy and scolded him. Bah! Damn clown Buggy, do you think we are afraid of you? That's right, Admiral Akainu is coming soon, you are no match for him. Wait for death, clown. Admiral Akainu. Buggy frowned subconsciously, thinking in his mind, it seems to be the guy who just became the admiral. It seems that the Navy is determined to win this time. With a hint of sarcasm on the corner of his lips, Buggy smiled. Since the other party doesn't listen to advice, then, stay here. Boom! As Buggy's big hand pressed down heavily, a huge crack appeared on the sea surface in an instant, the seawater poured back, and the waves surged. At the same time, the three warships began to tremble violently, tilted, and fell uncontrollably into the crack. What kind of ability is this? The sea surface is. Fire, fire quickly, we must stop him. The Vice Admiral shouted. Boom! Suddenly, shells shot out from the barrels, accompanied by a hail of bullets, and hit Buggy. However, the next second, before the shells and bullets approached Buggy's body, an invisible force tore them all apart. Crackling, the wreckage fell to the ground, forming a giant arc with Buggy as the center. What the hell is this? The Vice Admiral was completely dumbfounded, staring at the weird scene in front of him with wide eyes in disbelief. Bang! The waves surged high, hitting the warships, and countless Navy soldiers fell into the water. How could this happen? Help! Someone come and save us! Everyone, hurry up and jump off the boat. The Vice Admiral screamed hysterically, but the next second, the waves hit him mercilessly, and he was so scared that he quickly stepped on his right foot with his left foot, flew into the air with the moon step, and escaped this disaster. For a moment, the sea was turned upside down, and even if the three warships were at full firepower, they could not escape being swallowed by the waves. The scattered naval soldiers disappeared with the waves like purine in the wind and rain. Just you want to catch Buggy the Clown at this level? Ridiculous. Shaking his head in disdain, Buggy turned and walked towards the forest, unwilling to look at these stupid guys anymore. Live broadcast room, Marshal Sengoku, asshole, who sent the Navy to capture Buggy the Clown. Since the bounty is 1.5 billion, why let a group of soldiers deal with him? Where is Sakazuki? Where is he? Watching countless Navy being swallowed by the waves in the video, Sengoku was very distressed. How could a top combat force like Buggy the Clown think of letting ordinary soldiers take the lead? Stupid. Sengoku wanted to rush into the video immediately and beat the general who commanded this battle into a pig's head. Flamingo. Hi could it be Sengoku yourself? Red-haired Shanks. Wait, what was Buggy's method just now? He could actually split the shells in the air. Even the sea. Pluto Rayleigh, ordinary split fruit can never do this, so. Pirate King Roger, it can only be the awakening of the fruit. Once the superhuman fruit awakens, it can change the surrounding terrain and turn it into its own means. Mariah, just him. Pluto Rayleigh, at Clown Buggy, do you understand? Marshal Sengoku, at Magellan, go. Impulse City. Fruit awakening. Baki's eyes flashed with a gleam of light, and an idea suddenly came to his mind. Not bad. Humph. Damn parallel Buggy, for the sake of your awakening fruit, I won't scold you this time. Click. Magellan opened the cell door again and walked in. The live broadcast is still going on. Are you the intern of Roger Pirates, Buggy the Clown? A cold voice came from behind. Buggy turned his head and saw a tall man with a fiery aura standing quietly behind him. Admiral Akainu. Buggy raised his eyebrows. Humph. Remnant of the old times, damn pirate, today is the day you die. Bang. Akainu is always in a hurry to do things. He doesn't want to waste time talking to Buggy. He takes a step forward, and the hot magma bursts out from his right arm and hits Buggy fiercely. Boom. At the moment when the fist and the knife collided, the terrifying air wave spread like a shock wave around the forest. After a while, a large open space appeared in front of the two. A natural magma fruit ability user. Feeling the overbearing and tyrannical power from the other party, Buggy couldn't help smacking his lips. He is worthy of being a Navy admiral. This strength is enough. Then he laughed and teased, instead of saving people first, you come to deal with me first. Is this the style of the Navy? Humph. With a cold snort, Akainu disdained to answer, and instead punched out again. Because in his eyes, Buggy is already a dead man. Explain to a dead man? Haha, there is no need for this at all. Note, thanks to the brothers for the gifts. Chapter 44. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. The two of them exchanged punches again, and the moment they collided, there were explosions. Die! Akainu shouted, and his lava-transformed right arm quickly extended at an extremely fast speed, carrying a force of thousands, and blasted towards Buggy. Buggy, unwilling to be outdone, naturally did not fear, and punched forward. Shattered into pieces, peeled off. Puff. The hot magma was instantly split into two, tearing from both sides of Buggy. The blade shining with a black glow stabbed fiercely at Akainu's chest, which was wide open. But the knife stabbed into nothing and pierced into the flowing magma. Elementalization. Buggy was slightly stunned. But he understood at the next moment. It was the observation haki. The other party predicted his move, so he elementalized his chest in advance and avoided the knife. Die! Damn pirate! Seeing Buggy's flaw, bang bang bang, several ghost dogs burst out from Akainu's right arm and hit Buggy's chest again and again. Buggy was beaten back again and again, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Humph! Akainu couldn't help but sneer in his heart, what a clown Buggy, just so. However, after a while, Akainu's face changed. He found that his ghost dog was slowly disintegrating. He couldn't help but exclaimed, how could it be? Because I split it. Steadying his body, Buggy stomped his right foot on the ground and rushed towards Akainu like a cannonball. You come and I go, this time it's my turn to attack. Bang! Akainu blocked the oncoming blade, and his left hand, which was flowing with magma, pressed Buggy's wrist. Suddenly, the magma spread rapidly and extended to Buggy's entire arm. But the next second it was split into pieces and scattered all over the ground. My hell dog can't be split by you. Akainu questioned while attacking. Really? Buggy sneered, but the facts are in front of us. The hell dog is indeed amazingly powerful, and Akainu's strength should not be underestimated. The degree of tyranny is so strong that Buggy can't use his ability to split it. But as we all know, Buggy has two brains. Even when resisting Akainu's attack, he is constantly thinking about how to deal with Akainu. Finally, Buggy thought of a good idea. Since I can't split the hell dog, why can't I split its path? Just like the old guy Whitebeard shattered the space, can't I, Buggy, split the space? Crack, crack, crack. Subtle space-tearing sound sounded in Buggy's chest, and it completely split apart, taking in all the Hades that followed. At this moment, the live broadcast room was dumbfounded. Pluto Rayleigh, split space. This. Red-haired Shanks, great Buggy. Whitebeard, strange, isn't this my move? Pirate King Roger, ha ha ha, you are worthy of being little Buggy. Sakaski, humph. You think you can beat me with this lame trick? Ridiculous. Boom. While Akainu was stunned, Buggy's split right foot appeared behind his head, and kicked Akainu away fiercely, and the terrifying force directly knocked Akainu into the mountain. Immediately afterwards, Buggy pursued the victory, and 6 blades suddenly appeared in his hands, and immediately threw them at Akainu. Akainu, who had just jumped out of the mountain, was about to raise his fist to block, but the flying knife instantly split from it, 6 of which were pointed directly at Akainu, and the other 6 drew arcs in the air, pointing at the back of the opponent's head, waist, lower abdomen. Puff. Despite the armed color to compete, Buggy's domineering power was not inferior to him. In an instant, the blade stabbed into Akainu's body fiercely. Damn it! Akainu was furious, his fists were as fast as a phantom, and hot magma kept bursting out of his body, burning Buggy crazily. What a shame! I was actually forced to this point by a pirate. Die! Roar! A creepy roar sounded from Akainu's right arm. The next second, a dog head jumped out of the rolling magma, opened its hideous bloody mouth, and bit down on Buggy. Dog bites Red Lotus. Unfortunately, before the dog head touched Buggy's body, it was instantly swallowed by the split space. Akainu's face turned completely black. He didn't believe in evil and immediately turned his fists into magma. The dense lava fists were like meteors, smashing towards where Buggy stood. Meteor volcano. Magma bombs poured down from the sky. Do you want to destroy this island? Buggy was a little angry. This was the place that carried countless memories of him. Shattered into pieces, the sky is tilted. Boom boom boom. As Buggy waved his hand slightly, the ground beneath their feet trembled violently and completely split apart, like two doors about to close. The ground flipped over, trapped Akainu and the lava bomb in the middle, and slowly closed. Snap! The moment Buggy clenched his fist, there was no gap between the two doors, and Akainu was trapped inside. Boring! Waving his hands, Buggy was full of impatience. He really didn't want to fight with Akainu anymore. Because neither of them could do anything to the other. Akainu's attack became ineffective due to the split of space. And he also discovered the disadvantage of the split fruit, lack of attack methods. For guys like Teach, you may be able to kill them by splitting, but against Akainu's terrifying domineering degree and tenacious vitality, this method is a bit insufficient. It has to be improved quickly. Thinking of this, Buggy was even less interested in fighting. Asshole! Are you trying to escape? Akainu's angry roar came from the mountain. You are not my opponent, and I can't kill you. I am tired of such a fight. Buggy left without looking back. Damn it, are you looking down on me? Akainu roared madly, I am the Admiral of the Navy, and I will never let a pirate like you escape from here. Clown Buggy, today is your death. Lava, endless purgatory. As soon as Akainu finished speaking, the whole earth began to tremble, and the terrifying magma erupted from the ground, reflecting the sky in red. Buggy subconsciously jumped up, avoiding the ejected magma, suspended in the air, and looked down. Under his feet, the entire island had turned into a sea of magma and fire. Puff puff puff. The hot magma kept breathing out heat, making the air around it hot and uncomfortable. In the magma, Akainu slowly emerged. His appearance had changed drastically. He stared at Buggy with a ferocious face. Is the ability of the natural fruit awakened? It's really scary. Buggy rolled his eyes and curled his lips, tough guy. In that case. The voice became cold, then I'll fight you. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pluto Rayleigh, it's the awakening of the nature fruit. This is going to be difficult for Buggy. Pirate King Roger, it's okay, Buggy can continue to split. Red-haired Shanks, the level of domineering is comparable, and neither of them can do anything to the other. If these two want to defeat each other, they can only rely on a pure power duel. Whitebeard, Gulala the splitting fruit seems to lack attack methods. Everyone actually saw it. Buggy's splitting ability is indeed very strong, even space can be split, but when facing Akainu, who has a domineering power that is not weaker than his own, the fruit ability is like a decoration, and it can't cause any substantial damage. The same is true for Akainu, Sakaski, Humph. Damn pirates deserve to die. Live broadcast continues. Bang! In the air, a punch smashed the magma in front of him like a long dragon into slag, and Buggy immediately turned around and stabbed back without even looking at the blade in his hand. Duong. With the lava column under his feet, Akainu, who was rising high, also reacted quickly. He put his fist against the blade, and as his mind moved, another long lava dragon opened its mouth to swallow Buggy. The familiar scene appeared again. The long lava dragon was swallowed by the split space. Buggy's face remained unchanged. He punched Akainu in the lower abdomen. His right foot, suspended in the air, with the tip of the shoe shining with black light, pointed directly at Akainu's back. Don't use such lame tricks anymore. Akainu shouted angrily, without even looking behind him, and continued to hit Buggy. At the same time, the suddenly rising lava also dissolved Buggy's attack. Okay. Buggy's face became serious, then let's rely on our own abilities. Since they all knew that their fruit abilities could not do anything to each other, the two instantly chose the most primitive way of fighting. Boom! The heavy fist shadows came like a violent storm. Buggy's body was light and he kept dodging Akainu's attacks. At the same time, his two hands, which had been split early, fell on Akainu's back like raindrops. Akainu, who was attacking from the front and back, shouted and punched Buggy's hands with a heavy backhand, and then appeared in front of Buggy in an instant. A punch came, Buggy slightly turned sideways, dodged the punch, and was about to counterattack, but Akainu's heavy whip kick had already reached his waist. Baki, who used his observation haki to predict in advance, quickly split his body. Akainu kicked in the air, but he was not annoyed. The magma column under his feet moved quickly, cutting off the connection between Buggy's upper and lower body. His right arm condensed into a torrent of lava. At this moment, even the air seemed to be burned, and it blasted towards Buggy from bottom to top. Puff! Baki's body disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, Akainu seemed to know his position in advance and had been waiting for a long time. With a bang, the two people who were fighting each other took several steps back, blood dripping from their mouths, but Akainu suddenly found that Buggy's right foot was obviously much smaller than his left foot. Looking at the sneer on Buggy's face, Akainu immediately felt that something was wrong, and his lava right arm swung back subconsciously, bang. The right foot that split off at some point kicked Akainu's head hard, and the lava column collapsed instantly. Looking at Akainu falling into the lava, Buggy couldn't help but reveal a hint of helplessness in his eyes. It was obviously a great opportunity to pursue the victory, but he was too cheating to awaken the natural system. Bang bang bang! Suddenly, several huge lava bombs rushed out of the lava, dense as raindrops, and shot towards Buggy. Split into pieces and peel off. Puff! The magma bombs were split in an instant, but soon, Buggy's other brain suddenly thought of something. Since his body can split and reassemble, what about objects? Can it be done as well? Just do it. Beige waved his hand, split into pieces and peel off and reassemble. For a moment, the tiny particles split from Buggy's body attached to the magma bombs, and then split them and reassembled them into sharp stone spikes. Smashed down towards Akainu under the magma. Bang! The entire magma sea of fire boiled in an instant. Akainu, who was about to break away from the magma, was hit by countless stone spikes again. He could only keep moving and avoiding the attack of the stone spikes. He was extremely angry. Asshole! I want you dead. By the time Akainu jumped out of the sea of magma and fire, Buggy had already disappeared. Ah! I'm so pissed off. Akainu's angry roar echoed throughout the island. Live broadcast room, Sakazuki, at Clown Buggy, damn pirate, I must kill you, Clown Buggy, haha just you, Impulse City, prison inside, Buggy, who had another pair of shackles on his body, curled his lips in disdain, not taking Akainu's threat seriously at all. Since the appearance of Parallel Buggy, there are so many people who want to kill me. Who do you think you are, Akainu? Is it your turn? Go to the back and line up first. Cracked that the shackles on his body fell to the ground, Buggy split into clones, sat cross-legged in the corner, and began to practice day after day. Bastards. Sooner or later, I will settle accounts with you one by one, Beast Prison. Sugoi. You are worthy of being our captain. Even the admirals of the Navy can't do anything to him. Boss Buggy, we are waiting for you to save us. Quick, spread this news, and make sure more criminals know how powerful Captain Buggy is. Yes, we must take this opportunity to win over more people. Captain Buggy must think so too. So, one person spread it to 10 people and 100 people, and in just a few hours, except for the 6th underground floor, all the criminals on the other floors were boiling. Pirate King Roger, split? Reorganize? Is it possible to do this? Whitebeard, Gulala, doesn't it mean that any object except seastone can be split and reorganized by the red-nosed imp? Pluto Rayleigh, what a bold idea. Red-haired Shanks, ha ha ha. Buggy Sugoi, Marshal Sengoku, humph. Just wait and see, the Navy will arrest this Buggy sooner or later. The live broadcast is still going on. The troublesome Akainu. On the sea, Buggy rolled his eyes and complained, what a troublesome guy. There is no way back to the island. Buggy decided to continue looking for an island in the East China Sea to live. The practice of domineering has been further developed, and the means of attack of the fruit ability must continue to be developed. As for the domineering color entanglement, Buggy believes that it is only a matter of time. 2 years later. See Circle Calendar 1512. Dang dang dang. A dull knock on the door sounded, and Buggy, who was practicing, opened his eyes irritably and walked towards the door with a helpless look on his face. It must be the boss lady of the flower shop next door again, so annoying. I've said it countless times, I won't like you, you'd better die. Shanks. Buggy was immediately startled by the person who came, his eyes widened in horror, looking at the smiling Shanks in front of him in disbelief, and he was speechless for a while. Hey Buggy, long time no see. Shanks joked, did I come at the wrong time? Bullshit. Buggy sneered, how come you bastard? The voice stopped abruptly, Buggy's face instantly became extremely ugly, and the air around him suddenly became cold and silent at this moment. Where's your arm? Who did it? Chapter 46. You are listening at novelfull.audio. East China Sea, Windmill Village. On the sea, Buggy was riding a small boat, holding his chin with one hand, his eyes empty, and he recalled what Shanks said before he left half a year ago. I bet my left arm on the future. Idiot. He's really special. I'm optimistic about him. Hee. Buggy, I need your help. Asshole. Who do you think you are? Will I help you? At the same time, this is also the mission Captain Roger gave me. This. Captain Roger's mission. Buggy whispered to himself, and the face of the man he respected infinitely appeared in his eyes. Monkey D. Luffy. Buggy couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and said, I want to see what Shanks, this idiot, is like when he wants to save someone even at the cost of his arm. After making all kinds of excuses and making sarcastic comments, Buggy still came to Windmill Village after thinking for half a year. But Buggy stood up, stretched his waist, and looked at the gradually rising sea surface. We have to solve one thing first. Roar, the terrifying king of the sea, suddenly rushed out of the sea, opened his bloody mouth and bit Buggy. Bang bang bang. The king of the sea, which was split into two halves, fell powerlessly on the shore, blood spurting everywhere. Sand crocodile, he, it's this little loach again. Sachi, no, it's called Red Hair Nemesis. Red Hair Shanks. Pirate King Roger, interesting. Shanks actually asked little Buggy to teach Luffy. Pluto Rayleigh, maybe it's a good idea. Clown Buggy, humph. Damn straw hat boy, will I teach him. Bah. Traitor. How dare you agree to the request of that bastard Shanks, and then teach our enemies? Buggy was immediately furious. At this time, in his eyes, parallel Buggy was a shameful traitor. Is this the king of the sea who bit off Shanks' arm? Buggy circled around the corpse of the king of the sea for several times, but he didn't find out what was so scary about this thing. Buggy was puzzled and looked depressed. After all, it's just a slightly larger loach. Ridiculous. After throwing away the body of the king of the sea, Buggy walked towards the Windmill Village. He wanted to meet the very special child mentioned by Shanks. Who are you? Luffy stared at the newcomer with wide eyes, full of curiosity. My name is Buggy the Clown. I came to teach you how to practice at the request of Shanks. Looking at the little boy in front of him, Buggy said coldly. For some reason, he felt very uncomfortable the moment he saw Luffy. Like Shanks, born to be wrong. And Luffy, who heard Shanks' name, suddenly became excited and asked, "Shanks? Uncle, do you know Shanks?" Of course I know him. This straw hat was given to you by that bastard, oh no, Shanks. That's right. Luffy touched the straw hat, his face full of love. Humph. Buggy snorted coldly, leaned forward slightly, and carefully examined the straw hat, muttering, "Asshole, he refused to lend it to me at the beginning, and then he turned around and gave it away. Uncle, are you Shanks' friend? How is it possible? That bastard is worthy of being my friend?" "Forget it, for the sake of the straw hat, I reluctantly agree," Buggy said to himself. At this time, a freckled child suddenly walked in from outside the door. When he saw Buggy, he immediately pulled Luffy behind him and stared at Buggy vigilantly. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" This child, with such a keen perception, actually sensed the danger of me the first time he saw me. For a moment, Buggy couldn't help but look at Ace twice more. Ace. He's not a bad guy. He's the one Shanks invited to teach us how to practice. Wait. I didn't say I was going to teach you too. Wait, Ace. Is that your name? Buggy was stunned and stared at Ace. Humph. Ace looked up, obviously unwilling to pay attention to him. Ace. Buggy muttered in his heart, this is the same name as the famous sword in Captain Roger's hand. Coincidence? After a pause, Buggy said solemnly, although I'm not very willing, I promised Shanks after all, so I'll teach you for a while reluctantly. Do you understand? Who knows that Ace is very disrespectful and says, teach me. Just you. As soon as Ace finished speaking, the ground beneath his feet immediately split apart, turning upside down, revealing an endless abyss with a faint glow, but as Buggy clenched his fist lightly, the ground closed again. How? Looking at the two pale-faced people, Buggy smiled slightly. Little brat, can't I deal with you? Sugoi. Luffy was so shocked that his mouth could hardly close. Humph. Count, you are awesome. Really? Looking at Ace, who was holding his arms, obviously surprised to death, but still holding his arms with a stubborn face, Buggy's mouth twitched unconsciously. This kid is a bit like me when I was a child. Suddenly, Buggy's body shook, as if he thought of something, and his eyes suddenly became red. Yes. It's really like that. This scene is just like when Captain Roger taught me and Shanks. Then. From now on, the training officially begins. I'll tell you in advance that I'm strict. Okay. The two little ones said in unison. 5 years later. Bang! 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 The terrifying roar echoed throughout the windmill village. Luffy, who was already 10 years old, took a deep breath, his fists shone with a dark luster, and he smashed the mountain in front of him into slag with one punch. Baki, who was standing in the distance, frowned and said, Luffy. Pay attention to your breath and know how to retain your strength. The enemy will not stand there and wait for your fist. You must actively integrate domineering into the battle, don't just know how to wave your fists and rush forward. I know, Luffy said lightly and continued to walk towards the next mountain. Bang bang bang. The terrifying roar sounded again. On the other side, Ace stood quietly in place, his eyes closed, as if he was silently sensing something. Who? Suddenly, Ace shouted, and immediately punched behind him. Just as Ace made a punching motion, he stopped abruptly the next second, and leaned back quickly and nimbly, avoiding Buggy's whip kick. Oh, seeing this, Buggy raised his eyebrows slightly. You sense my movements in advance. Your observation hockey has improved again. Yeah. Ace responded lightly, neither sad nor happy, and seemed very cold. Unfortunately, after 5 years of getting along, Buggy already knew Ace's personality very well. I guess he is very proud of himself at this moment. Not bad. Buggy nodded, admiring Ace very much, not only because of his name, but more importantly, his terrible talent. Of course, Luffy is not bad either, he's just a little younger. In just 5 years, these two guys not only mastered the armament hockey, but also became proficient in observation hockey. It seems that it's time for me to leave. The next day, while the two kids were still sleeping, Buggy left Windmill Village. Chapter 47. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Live broadcast room, red-haired Shanks. What a wonderful feeling, Buggy has become the master of Luffy and Ace. Shanks is happy from the bottom of his heart, he feels more and more that the parallel world self is really smart. How could he suddenly think of letting Buggy teach Luffy and Ace? So smart, but in this way, Ace should be able to avoid the crisis of being arrested by the Navy. Pluto Rayleigh, maybe this is fate. Roger taught you and Buggy back then, and now Buggy is teaching Ace and Luffy again. Pirate King Roger, ha ha ha, this is the inheritance of my Roger pirate group. Straw Hat Luffy. Fire Fist Ace. The two brothers are very confused at this time. Buggy. Master? Ah, this is too ridiculous. Kaido of Beasts, hey, he's just a clown, but he's pretending. Marshal Sengoku, damn it. Where's Garp? Where's the Garp in the parallel world? He just watched his grandson go astray. At Garp, speak. Vice Admiral Garp. He curled his lips in disdain. What the parallel Garp did has nothing to do with me. Sengoku, I advise you not to make trouble. The live broadcast is still going on. After leaving Windmill Village, Buggy did not choose to go back to Orange Town, but found another sparsely populated island and stayed there temporarily. Practicing, sleeping, eating, subscribing to newspapers every day. For some reason, even Buggy found it very strange. When he was a child, he kept clamoring to find treasures all over the world, but when he was middle-aged, he just wanted to avoid the world. Maybe this is the loneliness of the strong. Buggy thought shamelessly. Time flies. In the 1514th year of the Sea Circle calendar, red-haired Shanks successfully ascended to the top, and together with Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard, he was collectively called the Four Emperors of the New World. Humph. Shanks, that bastard, is also worthy of being the Four Emperors. Holding the newspaper, Buggy complained with dissatisfaction, but there was a hint of smile in his eyes that could not be concealed. In the 1517th year of the Sea Circle calendar, Ace went out to sea. With his strong strength, he soon made a great reputation in the New World. After rejecting the invitation of the world government to become a 7 warlords of the sea, he resolutely joined the Whitebeard pirates. Humph. Ace, that little bastard, actually boarded Whitebeard's ship. I wonder if I have a grudge against that old guy. Buggy was very angry and glared at Ace through the newspaper. In the 1520th year of the Sea Circle calendar, Luffy went out to sea and established the Straw Hat Pirates, which became famous in the sea in just half a year. Looking at the familiar big smiling face on the wanted poster, Buggy's mouth corners slightly raised, and he was angry in his heart that his vision was not as good as Shanks. In the same year, on an island in the East China Sea, Buggy sat quietly on a reef with his eyes closed to practice, thinking about the new skills of the split fruit in his mind. Chirp, the chirping of the news bird came from above his head. He opened his eyes, stretched out his hand familiarly, threw out a fish, and took the latest issue of the newspaper. Looking at the information on the newspaper, Buggy silently read, because of the betrayal of the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, the Great Whirlpool Spider Squad. The Great Whirlpool Spider Squad? Buggy was stunned and frowned slightly. Squad. Such a familiar name, as if I heard it somewhere. Wait. Isn't this the guy that Captain Roger almost killed because of the massacre of civilians? He is still alive and on Whitebeard's ship. Buggy couldn't help but sigh that the world is really small, and this person is really lucky. However, when Buggy continued to browse, he saw, due to the betrayal of Squad, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Port Gas D. Ace, will be publicly executed in Marine Headquarters Marineford in 1 month. Bang. Buggy stood up instantly, his heart beating violently uncontrollably, his hands tightly grasping the newspaper, his eyes full of disbelief. Portgas D. Isn't this? Ace is actually the bloodline of Captain Roger. Live broadcast room, Doflamingo. Hey, I didn't expect that even if Blackbeard died, Fire Fist Ace couldn't avoid the fate of being caught. Blackbeard teach, hahaha brother Ace, did you see that? This is your fate, you can't blame me. Fire Fist Ace, Pirate King Roger, big whirlpool spider squad. Who is this guy? At Pluto Rayleigh, do you remember? Pluto Rayleigh Lee, a small pirate group in the New World, I forgot about that. Red-haired Shanks, Bage will definitely save Ace, I believe him. Moby Dick, Whitebeard pirates. At this moment, the deck was silent, and everyone's eyes fell on Squard in the corner, puzzled, questioned, angry, confused, countless eyes full of complex emotions, shocked Squard so much that he almost knelt on the spot. My business was exposed by the live broadcast room. Don't you have to be so fast, can't you give me some time to react? Bang! Marco rushed forward and pushed Squard to the ground, although that was just a parallel world, and although Squard did not attack Ace in this world, but because of the blood feud, and the Whitebeard pirates were about to arrive at the Navy headquarters, at this critical moment, Marco, as the captain of the first squad, had to be on guard. Don't hurt him, lock him up first. Whitebeard looked at Squard with regret and waved his hand. The live broadcast is still going on. 1 month later, Buggy successfully arrived at the Marine headquarters, Marineford. Captain Roger's bloodline, he must save it even if it costs his life. Moreover, although it was only 5 short years, he had to admit that Ace was also his apprentice. Boom, the war on the top was about to break out. Buggy saw the Navy Marshal Sengoku, the hero Garp, the 3 admirals, the 7 warlords of the sea, and the Whitebeard pirates. He also witnessed Luffy, who fell from the sky and burst out with a terrifying domineering color when facing countless navy. He witnessed Whitebeard's death with his own eyes, and the voice that announced to the world, One Piece really exists. But from beginning to end, Buggy did not make a move. Whether Whitebeard lives or dies has nothing to do with him. In the huge Marineford, he only cares about the lives of Ace and Luffy. Finally, in the face of Akainu's giant lava fist, in order to protect Luffy, Ace opened his arms and wanted to stop the magma with his flesh and blood, but Buggy moved. Boom! In an instant, the entire Marineford was turned upside down, and the ground was stacked high like a folding fan. The sudden change surprised everyone. At the same time, Buggy's 6 throwing knives appeared in front of Ace at an extremely fast speed, intercepting Akainu's fist. Clown Buggy. It's you. Akainu guessed who the person was at a glance, and immediately shouted angrily to the surroundings. Get out. I don't have time to play with you today. On the battlefield, 2 big hands appeared out of thin air and grabbed Ace and Luffy respectively, and then flew away. Asshole. Akainu was about to stop him, but was suppressed by the stone pillars formed by the split ground. Want to leave? At some point, Akiji blocked Buggy. Shattered into pieces. Crack, a terrifying space crack appeared under Akiji's feet. What kind of trick is this? Akiji's body fell into the crack uncontrollably, but he quickly escaped. Baki took the opportunity to take Luffy and Ace away. On a small island several kilometers away from the Navy headquarters. Why didn't you save Dad? Ace asked Buggy loudly with red eyes. Breaking tears, obviously you have the ability to save Dad, why? Logically speaking, I don't need to explain this to you. Buggy said coldly, whether Whitebeard lives or dies, it has nothing to do with me, not to mention the hatred between us. As for you, if you weren't the only blood of Captain Roger and I had taught you for 5 years, I wouldn't save a fool like you. Fool. You said I was stupid? Ace widened his eyes. Yes, you are indeed stupid. Squard is just a small character. He became the captain of the Whitebeard pirates only because he had many subordinates. However, you were defeated by such a person. Buggy shook his head and said, "You are too smooth sailing. You have been taught by me since you were young. You have been very powerful as soon as you went to sea. You also encountered the powerful natural flame fruit and joined the Four Emperors Whitebeard pirates. This also caused you to ignore the approach of danger. With your perception ability and observation haki, can't you feel Squard's hostility?" Ace was speechless for a moment. He knew that what Buggy said was correct. "When you first saw me, can sense my danger, but now, Ace has nothing to say, lowering his head and falling into deep self-blame. "No one will always spoil you, Ace, take care of yourself." After saying that, Buggy glanced at Luffy who was still sleeping soundly and blowing snot bubbles, couldn't help but smile, and left. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Moby Dick, looking at the video, the entire white group fell into silence again. "No. This is not true, Dad will not die. This is just a parallel world, it must be different from our world. Yes, Dad is Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, how could he die? Damn Squard, Dad's death is inseparable from him. If he hadn't attacked from behind, woo, Dad wouldn't have. Kill Squard." The white group was completely angry, especially after seeing Squard's sneak attack, they couldn't help but yell to kill him. "Gulala will I die in Marineford." Looking at himself in the video, covered in blood and standing firm, Whitebeard's face suddenly showed a strange look, and he couldn't help but chuckle. He thought that saving Ace might cause heavy casualties this time, but he didn't guess his own death. "It seems that I am really old. Even Amira Kainu dares to bully me. Humph." Accompanied by Whitebeard's cold snort, the entire sea surface was gusting in an instant, and the terrifying air pressure instantly enveloped everyone's head. "Let Squard go. From today on, he is no longer a member of my Whitebeard pirates." This is Whitebeard. Even after seeing Squard stab him in the back, he still couldn't bear to kill him. In fact, it's not a bad thing for us to see Dad's death in advance. At this time, Marco said in a deep voice. "That's right, as long as we are prepared, Dad will not die. Besides, now that Squard's backstab is gone, Dad will not be so seriously injured. Gulala, don't worry, Whitebeard is very open-minded. As an old guy who has survived from the last era, life and death are no longer so important to him. As for saving Ace, he is not worried. Don't forget, that bastard Roger." Impelled down, Ace hung his head, looking dejected. The joy he had felt before because of the awakening of the fruit had long since disappeared. In the video, Buggy's words were about the parallel Ace, but he was also talking about him. Especially when he witnessed his father's death with his own eyes. Is it too smooth? Ace couldn't help but smile bitterly. Yes. It was indeed too smooth, so smooth that when he faced Teach, he was still arrogant enough to think that the other party was still the same Teach as before. Because of his arrogance, he entered the impel down, caused his father to die for saving him, and caused Luffy to be seriously injured. "It's all my fault." For a moment, Ace's head hit the ground heavily, tears welling up in his eyes. Opposite. "Shut up." Buggy, who was busy practicing, said unhappily. Live broadcast room, Marshal Sengoku. "Ha ha ha, I see, those damn pirates, this is the fate of being enemies of justice." Sakaski, the remnants of the old era, it's time to end. Pirate King Roger, really? Don't forget that it's just a parallel world. Sand Crocodile, he looking forward to a battle. Sachi, bah. Shameless Navy, deliberately tempting Squard to do such a thing, it's simply despicable. Dad will not die. Marco, that's right. Navy headquarters. Sengoku looked worried and paced back and forth. After seeming to hesitate for a long time, he finally dialed the number of impel down. "I'm Magellan. Magellan. I ask you to kill Buggy the Clown immediately." "Ah." Magellan on the other end of the phone was surprised, "But Marshal, that Buggy the Clown is not as. The Navy must not keep a tiger for harm again." Zhangguo shouted in a low voice, "The war at the top is coming soon, we can't let go of any unknown hidden dangers." "But Magellan, don't forget, he still has a live broadcast room reward in his hand, none of us know what it is, if it affects the entire war situation, then it will be a big trouble, bang. Magellan on the other end of the phone understood instantly and agreed immediately, Push City, the 6th underground infinite prison, click. Magellan pushed open the prison door and walked in. I said, are you annoying? Buggy stretched out his hand speechlessly in front of the other party, hurry up, don't disturb my sleep. Seeing that the other party was so cooperative, Magellan couldn't do it, they are both Buggy the Clown, why is there such a big difference? The poisonous dragon slowly moved behind Magellan, after rising, the eyes emitting dim light stared at Buggy. Remember. Don't be a pirate in your next life. Roar. As Magellan finished speaking, the poisonous dragon roared and rushed up. Shattered into pieces, shattered. Puff. At the critical moment, the space shattered and swallowed the poisonous dragon in one gulp. Magellan was shocked and immediately looked at the corner, under the black and white mask, there was a pair of eyes full of madness and tyranny. Why bother? Slightly frivolous words came out of Buggy's mouth, teasing Magellan, and then, a white cloth appeared out of thin air in Buggy's hand. Magellan immediately exclaimed, as expected by the marshal, you are really. Puff. A large ball of white smoke rose up, covering Magellan's tall body. Why bother? Why force me? After all, I've tolerated you putting shackles on me. Looking down at the Magellan cartoon key puppet on the ground, Buggy laughed strangely, the effect of the ugly emperor mask is limited in time. It is estimated that Magellan will recover soon, but at this moment, the ugly emperor Buggy doesn't care so much, he just needs to find it interesting. Picking up the prison key on the ground, Buggy strode out of the prison. After a week of inspection, he grinned, assholes, it's time to leave here. Ace on the opposite side was stunned, the old sand people next door were dumbfounded, in the darkness not far away, a pair of blood-red eyes slowly opened, the blue fat man frowned and looked at Buggy, and then looked at Ace. Since then, the city of Impel Down has fallen into chaos. The live broadcast is still going on. After the incident at the top, Buggy's life returned to peace. Buggy likes this kind of life. On the sea, after 2 years of silence, news about the Straw Hat Pirates continued to spread all over the world. Buggy remembered Luffy's bold words and couldn't help laughing for a moment. You did a great job, Luffy. And this kind of life continued until. In the year 1523 of the Sea Circle calendar, a report came into Buggy's eyes. Shocked. The Four Emperors Red Hair openly attacked the world's noble celestial dragons half a month ago and has now been escorted to the Holy Land of Marihoa. It is speculated that he may be publicly executed soon. What? Buggy's angry voice echoed throughout the island. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kaido, what? Red Hair attacked the celestial dragons, Big Mom, and was he taken to the Holy Land of Marihoa, Whitebeard, public execution, Pirate King Roger, how could this happen? At Shanks. Pluto Rayleigh, it seems that Buggy is going to save Shanks. Sage, why do I feel that he is always saving people, New World. Ambush the celestial dragons. Just a bunch of pigs, do you need to attack them to kill them? Will the boss be okay? Humph. Do you think the boss is you? Just a celestial dragon. Shanks, you in the parallel world wouldn't. Beckman hesitated, Shanks' face was extremely gloomy, his deep eyes kept flickering and changing, and he was obviously lost in thought. Attack the celestial dragons? No. Even if I were in the parallel world, I would never do such a meaningless act. Could it be that he really, Marihoa, the Holy Land, Pangus City, in an unknown palace somewhere? Humph, a cold snort came from the darkness, the live broadcast is still going on. What on earth is this bastard thinking about? Inside the room, Buggy couldn't help but frown. Damn it. Although he has a whimsical personality and is not as calm as Shanks, but there are some things that Buggy knows better than anyone else. For example, after the Battle of God Valley, the Roger pirates found the infant versions of themselves and Shanks from the treasures they looted. It can be said that there are many doubts, the Battle of God Valley was the most chaotic and top battle on this sea in the past 100 years, without a doubt. But why did the infant version of themselves and Shanks appear in that place? A long time ago, after learning about his life experience, Buggy was thinking about this question. At that time, there were 4 forces participating in the war in God Valley, namely the Rocks Pirates, the World Government's Knights of God, the Navy, and the indigenous people of God Valley. Are they indigenous people? No. Buggy denied this conjecture, because when Mr. Rayleigh and Mr. Jabba found himself and Shanks, they were both in 2 valuable boxes. Because of the rabbit game, the Knights of God slaughtered the indigenous people of God Valley crazily, so how could they let them go just because they were 2 babies? So, Rocks Pirates, Knights of God, are the 2 choices closest to the correct answer. After coming to this bold conclusion, Buggy thought about it for many years, and finally one day, he figured it out. The Knights of God. Buggy remembered that on the eve of Roger's pirate group entering Raftel, he, who had always been strong and healthy and never sick, suddenly contracted a serious disease. In the end, Shanks chose to stay and take care of him, and did not enter Raftel. The person Captain Roger wanted to guard against was not himself, but Shanks. Because the box containing Shanks as a baby must have been left in the Valley of the Gods by the Knights of God. As for himself, Tsk Buggy sneered. If he was a celestial dragon, the world government would have contacted him long ago. For a while, the whole world was shocked by Buggy's conjecture. Red-haired Shanks, one of the 4 emperors of the New World, was actually a celestial dragon of the world's nobles. The bloodline of the Knights of God who massacred the indigenous people of the Valley of the Gods. Unbelievable. Incredible. Kaido, is Red Hair a celestial dragon? The baby lost by the Knights of God. Big Mom, Momomo, is this true? The red-nosed kid is not talking nonsense, is he? Doflamingo, he it's getting more and more interesting. Katakuri, is this true? Roger did not answer. Rayleigh was also silent for a rare time. 9 Snake Island, Navy warship, on the deck. Hancock, who was watching the live broadcast room silently, suddenly shuddered and exclaimed. Luffy! Did you see it? That Four Emperors' red hair is actually... I saw it. Luffy, who was hiding in Hancock's skirt, looked surprised, as if he was a little surprised about Shanks' identity, but soon, his expression was occupied by a firmness. Don't worry, Hancock. I believe in Shanks, Luffy said with great certainty, even if he is really a celestial dragon. I still believe in him. Well. I, too, believe him, but Luffy, can you please stop holding on to me, Luffy? Hancock, are you hurt? Why are you making such a strange sound? Moby Dick. Red Hair is actually a celestial dragon. A descendant of the Knights of God. It's hard to believe this is true. It's incredible. So Red Hair is an undercover agent of the world government hidden among the pirates. As soon as this was said, the person who spoke immediately shut up, because even he thought that this was not true. Gulala, although I don't like that little brat Red Hair, Whitebeard laughed and said, but I believe in the choice of Roger, that bastard. So what if he is a celestial dragon? Carrying the blood that he shouldn't have and hates so much, isn't Ace the same? I really want to see Roger's expression at that time. Gurgle-la-la, it will definitely be very interesting. The live broadcast is still going on. Holy Land, Marihoa. In the power hall shrouded in darkness, the atmosphere was deathly silent. The 5 elders, symbolizing the existence of the pillars of the world government, were located in 5 directions in the hall, and their eyes were all looking at the center. Shanks, wearing a black robe and half of his face buried under the brim of his hat, stood on the floor with an extremely solemn expression. This scene seemed to be a conversation, but it was more like a trial. A trial of traitors by the world government. Figurando Shanks. The god of finance, Izambaron v. Nasusho, said sternly, is this your choice? Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Faced with the questioning of Saint Nasu Sholang, Shanks raised his lips slightly, and replied coldly in a tone that was no less powerful than the other party, "Don't add something I hate in front of my name without permission. Otherwise, I will get angry." Like a stone falling into a cold pond, Shanks' words instantly ignited the anger of the 5 elders. "Bold! Shanks, do you know what you are talking about? Are you trying to rebel against the world government?" The god of agriculture Shepherd 10 Pit said coldly. "It is a great gift for us to allow you, a person left behind, to enter this sacred land. How can you not even have a little gratitude?" The god of environment Marcus Maz looked at Shanks with contempt. The god of justice Topman Voucheri held his chin with both hands and said in a deep voice, "For hundreds of years, the world government has always wanted to take back the Nika fruit, but you took it from CP9. Just for this crime, the world government is enough to make the final judgment on you. We can let bygones be bygones and let your bloodline return, but, is this how you answer us?" The god of science defense Zygalushia Satan said angrily. In an instant, the hall of power was tense and the atmosphere was cold and silent to the freezing point. After a long time, a low sneer came from the hall, "Bloodline return." Shanks' tone was full of ridicule. "If I didn't have some value, how could I say the 4 words, bloodline return, if I wasn't so proud as you? What a ridiculous trick." "Shut up." The god of justice Voucheri scolded immediately. Shanks sneered and was about to refute. "Don't say anything more if you want to win the favor of the gossip." Nasu Sholang interrupted with his sword in hand, "The light of history has been lit. The world government does not want this to happen. Fergalando Shanks, for the sake of your clan and the supreme blood of God, I think you should understand what you should do." "The light of history?" Shanks frowned slightly and laughed. "With the wisdom of the 5 of you, don't you understand what this symbolizes? For 800 years, the world government has been trying to take back the Nika fruit, but has never succeeded. In this era, Nika has taken the initiative to choose Luffy. What does this mean? Don't you really know? Asshole. Shut up. Pay attention to your identity, Fergalando Shanks. Are you deliberately provoking us?" The 5 elders all changed color, and the uncontrollable anger continued to burst out in their bodies, and they shouted one by one. Facing the threats of the 5 people, Shanks stood up straight, facing the 5 angry eyes, and said fearlessly, "Nika is a liberator, overthrowing the oppression of slave owners and liberating the enslaved people. This is Nika's will. And now, Nika's will has appeared again on this sea. This is not a coincidence, nor is it fate, but it truly feels the existence of darkness and decay." "Shut up." The scientific bulletproof god Satan wanted to stop it. 800 years ago, 20 kingdoms jointly established the world government. Because they needed internal pairing equality and to prevent any one person from becoming a dictator, they deliberately built an empty throne. The kings swore together that no one would ever sit on this throne, and surrounded the throne with their 20 weapons. Shanks' voice became louder and louder, as if it was going to penetrate the magnificent hall of power and point directly to the sky, and now, it is there, the empty throne that 20 kings swore together not to sit on. But an unknown existence appeared. The real reason why Nika's will appeared is because it sensed its existence and felt the darkest, most corrupt, and most evil in the world. Ding! In an instant, a crisp sword sound interrupted Shanks' words. "You disappoint me so much. Shanks." At some point, an old man appeared in the empty hall of power. A thin and tall figure stood quietly in the center of the hall. Under his pointed nose was an old face full of wrinkles. His long light-colored hair formed a pair of unbending side spikes on the left and right of his head. There was also a very high forward-bending spike on the top, which outlined a crescent moon facing forward. Round-framed sunglasses covered his eyes. He was full of terrifying momentum and stared at Shanks. The leader of the Knights of God, Fergalando Gringon. Suddenly, when he saw the moment Shanks saw the man, his face turned extremely ugly, and his eyes flashed with unstoppable anger. "Ancient Saint Green, is this your bloodline?" Saint Nashowling asked angrily. You dare to be so disrespectful to us, as the final judge, you are not guilty of your duty. He knows too much. I suggest that he be judged in the end. The world government does not need the existence of traitors. Tsk facing the accusations of the 5 elders and others, ancient Saint Green held the sword in one hand and chuckled, my bloodline, do you need to question it? Ancient Saint Green, you. Saint Pitt was about to get angry, but ancient Saint Green did not even look at him, but stared at Shanks. I thought you would be a smart man. If you think living a life of shamelessness, oppression of the common people, darkness and corruption are smart, I would rather not have it. Sure enough, I shouldn't have left you there. Ancient Saint Green stroked his forehead as if he had a headache, and sighed, such a lowly person like Roger has had a profound impact on you. Shut up. I don't allow you to call Captain Roger like that. Shanks was furious when he heard this, and directly pulled out the griffin from his waist and pointed it directly at ancient Saint Green. Oh, for a lowly person, you actually want to attack me? Ancient Saint Green smiled. Humph. Shanks' eyes were like swords, and his aura completely rose to the peak at this moment. He said coldly, since I stepped into this hall, I knew that this matter could never be easily settled. Knowing the most mysterious existence of the world government, Shanks no longer thought that he could walk out alive. Of course, there is another way out, that is to go along with the world government and become a weapon in the hands of the world government. I'm sorry, the blood in my body can't let me choose, but at least, my will is free. It seems that you have made a choice. The ancient Saint Green laughed horrifyingly. Yes. I, Shanks, the man who inherited the will of Captain Roger, will never choose your so-called cleverness. Facing the extremely angry eyes of the 6 paths in front of him, Shanks stood with a sword, the tip of the sword pointed directly at several people, and shouted, Nika's will not end, and Luffy will not be blocked by the mere world government. Today, I, Shanks, would rather die than become a sharp weapon in your hands pointing to the justice and equality of the world. At this moment, Shanks has made up his mind to fight to the death. Okay. Has it come to this? Swish. The sharp sound of the sword being unsheathed echoed in the hall, and the ancient Saint Green slowly drew out the knight's long sword. In an instant, the amazing momentum filled the entire hall. The final judgment will be carried out by me personally. And just when the 2 sides were about to start. Asshole Shanks. I'm so unlucky to know you. Who? Nasu Sholong immediately looked up. Of course it's me. With a slightly teasing tone, Buggy, who appeared at some point, fell from the sky and landed next to Shanks. The smile on his face gradually turned cold. Buggy looked at the 5 elders and the ancient Saint Green and said sternly, a bunch of old things, you want to kill Shanks, the bastard, have you asked me? Boom! Instantly, a terrifying aura burst out from Buggy's body.